I'm not the first person to bring this up. I've been keeping up with some of the MBD book scans. And I believe it was April of last year was the first month ever. April or March, I can't remember. First month ever where the top 10 adult graphic novels were all manga. Top 10 selling. All manga. And that's in the West. That's in America. Never seen anything like that. This is why, for those of you who are longtime manga or anime fans who think that, well, it's always been like this, no, you're wrong. That is an objectively incorrect position. I get that you like manga. That's fine. But it is a relatively new phenomena in America's case that they have been kicking their ass on their own soil. Okay? But do not think that these weirdos who want to believe that, okay, there's no problem right now, particularly in American comic books, all these pissy broke comic pros and weirdos who lead with their social justice and all that nonsense and advocacies and preferences and shit. They like to think there isn't a problem, right? Comics aren't in the red at all. Only they are. Well, some of them admit it. Kelly Sue DeConnick will admit it. They're in the red for the most part. Definitely with the big two. If they're not really bringing in any sort of money, they're not probably not breaking even with some of these books. Most of these books, if they're not tied to like some of the bigger characters that are like selling hundreds of thousands of copies, which is rare anyway these days. It's a bad market right now. Saw this, and this is the hilarious thing. They never will give context, so they will continue to take credit for some shit that they had nothing to do with. Heidi McDonald says graphic novel sales up 109.3% in 2021. Pass it on. Within adult fiction, the graphic novel genre had the biggest increase, with units jumping up 109.3%, followed by fantasy, which saw a rise 45.3%. So you see that, and you look, and it looks like, oh wow. The comic book industry is doing very well. 2021 was a big year for us, and everybody's all enthusiastic about the American comic books because graphic novels are doing very well. Well, until you look at it in fucking detail. So like I've said, they have not fucking looked back at all. Okay? They haven't looked back at all. As you can see, all of these right now, even the ones that was published and out here by way of an American company, the one representation, which is Berserk, and this was in August, right? So we've gone a little past, just getting them as this gets updated. August of 2021, as you can see. All of these bitches in the top fucking 20 are all fucking manga. Berserk's the only one that's published by Dark Horse, but again, that's a fucking manga. Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, My Hero Academia. There is no American representation in this fucking adult graphic novels. So how the fuck can an American comic book and you've seen them do these. Comic pros do this all the time. They look like, man, numbers are up. Yeah, their numbers are up. And you're trying to take credit for their numbers. You're trying to take credit for their numbers. Your numbers are down. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like they're just completely different. I mean, we know it's different, but it's their comic book. It's just Japanese comics. It's all this fucking manga is. Japanese comic book. Nonetheless, they're not buying the American shit. They're buying the Japanese shit in America, on American soil. They're kicking your ass. You should have some sort of self-reflection there, but they don't. So I cover this story because I want you guys to understand when you see these comic pros sit up here and people that just want to speak a thing into existence like, oh, we're doing so well. These shit books are just selling like fucking hotcakes, man. Always understand that context matters. And if you actually bother to look at the numbers, you will see very seldom an American. There's a couple of that'll sneak in there, but definitely in this past year in 2021, Japanese have officially said, okay, I'm going to your fucking house and I'm taking a shit right in your living room and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. And American comic pros have no sense of, again, self-awareness, dignity. It's because they get their ass kicked. And instead of being like, wow, we probably should make some sort of adjustment, they just say, oh, no, we're going to try to take credit for some things that we had nothing to do with. But this is why they suck. And this is why here I come, hopefully, can try to, you know, it's not just myself. Hopefully we see a big time renaissance. You know, we can be in positions, and these independents, some of these other, I hate to use the term independent because that just means not big two. So let's scratch that. Let's just say American publishers, you know what I mean, can start to see the numbers that maybe we see out here. You know what I mean, with these Japanese companies. We sell on upwards of hundreds of thousands of copies on a certain issue or volume or whatever. That's what we need, and hopefully we get that renaissance. But I can tell you right now, it ain't going to come from the big two. They're fucking dead. DC's dead. Marvel's dead. And you kind of have, DC, after all, is what it stands for, dead company. And here's, you know, hope. I can only hope and pray and give you guys material that you guys want. and with our comic book company, and maybe fucking try to be competitive in our own fucking market. Because right now, you're seeing that there's a bunch of folks who are thirsty for this material. They want good comic book material. They just have accepted that the American big two, which have for the most part controlled the game, they're not giving it to them. So they went elsewhere. And people went to the Japanese market, and, you know, Japanese are showing like, hey, yeah, we're going to do what we do. We've been doing this forever. We haven't changed anything. Y'all are just coming more privy to us because now you have a reason to go look for shit like that. Instead of looking in your own backyard, you go look to the Japanese. And hopefully we can be competitive again, because this is fucking embarrassing. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.